Oh shit. Welcome back, my computer duders. Little fucking busy right now. Fuck you. Forever. Well, that's kind of harsh. Maybe I overdid it. Fuck you for like 20 years. That's kind of how our prison system works. Like semi-permanent fuck yous that last multiple years while you think about what you did and get raped in the ass every day. How come that doesn't fall under cruel and unusual punishment, I wonder? How do they get away with that? Not that I'm asking because I want to establish some kind of ass-fucking resort. Certainly not. Far be it from me. My eye itches. Can't wait till I can just plug my fucking brain into this. That way there's no eyeball that has to get scratched. My grandkids are gonna be like, fucking old man, doesn't even have a brain port. And they won't be wrong. I need glass. And I know I don't have any glass here. Gotta get back to the underwater colony where I have everything I need to make. The problem is you can't have a base in one place that has access to everything. Which is, I guess, the mark of a good game, because it forces you to traverse the landscape and have bases in different parts of the world. This game would be very dull if you could just hunker down in one location and have everything you needed. And arguably, once you've beaten it to the point where you have bases in all the hard-to-get spaces in the game and get all the fucking rare shit, you've ruined the fun of the game for yourself. Because you no longer have to go on these huge epic adventures to get anything. You're just like a high-tech master of time and space with underwater colonies and bases in other dimensions and sky fortresses. Like how there's no adventure in the world anymore because human beings are too overpowered. We've already explored everything and put a fucking Starbucks on it. Fuck off. Nuh-uh. You too. Fuck off. You fuck you. That's right. Fuck you for 80 years. I mean it. I can't shoot in the right. Fix that, would you? Would you kindly? Where's my colony? Dude, where is my... There's supposed to be... There it is. I was gonna say, there's supposed to be a giant fucking underwater base here. Those don't just go missing. And here's my stop. Please keep your hands and arms inside the vehicle. Don't forget to take anything that you brought with you off of the submarine, or I will eat it. Do I still have... I don't have lava. What did I come here for? Oh yeah, sand. Or, I mean... Well, not sand per se, but glass. Glass. Fucking... It's not enough. By a long shot. Do I have any already smelted glass, I wonder? Nope. Nope. I should be so lucky. Wouldn't my life be easy if I had remembered to do something like that? Yep, Nope. Which means I need to go fucking gather sand. This is a good time to gather sand, though, because it's morning. So I have all day to go shovel. If only there was something I could make into glass in hell. Like hell sand. There's soul sand, but I don't think I can smelt that into glass. Otherwise, I would have found out about that a long time ago. Let me eat something. And condemn this little egg to the bottom of the sea. Fuck you! For 12 years, I condemn you to being fucked by the ocean itself. By Poseidon's mighty watercock. Did I really use up all the sand over here? I hope not. I fucking hope not. Probably, though. That sounds like something I would do. Yep. This is used up. This is used up over here. Almost like I built a fucking bunch of underwater domes or something. Oh, can't do that. Ugh. God damn it. God damn it, why does that keep happening? There's Minecraft on Switch too, although I don't know why I would get that when I have it for Gear VR, which is the superior portable version of it. Like, once you play this game in VR, you're like, holy shit, this is a match made in heaven. This is the perfect VR game, which is why Microsoft is for sure going to be leveraging this on their mixed reality platform, which is nothing of the sort. That's a total misnomer. It's just VR. It's just a fancy name for VR right now. Like, they're gonna maybe do some augmented reality shit in the future, but they don't even... They have the cameras for it on the headsets, but they're not doing it right now. They're just not... They're calling it mixed reality as, like, a future thing that will make sense eventually. Which really stinks. Because you're hyping your product up to be something that's not. I like their headsets, though. I like the generic headsets. For decent prices, actually. That's kind of what VR needs to become. It needs to become generic. It needs to become like buying a monitor. You wouldn't think, oh, I have to buy the same brand of monitor every time. It has to be just a kind of display that is widely used for gaming. And priced accordingly. Sorry if that was gross, I'm dying. No, you can't have my stuff. All my piss jugs are going to my cat, according to my will, which I've written in crayon on a napkin. That's quality piss. That used to be Mountain Dew. Code red, not just regular Mountain Dew. That's why some of it's red, although I think there could be blood in that piss. Maybe future generations will be able to extract the blood from my piss jugs and recreate me so I can solve their most difficult problems. So say, the wizened one from the piss jugs has returned to us. Bring him our lustiest bitches. And I shall say, very well, have them washed and brought to my chambers. And bring me additional Mountain Dew that I may replenish my power meter. think that's enough. I think it's probably more than enough. Get out of here, sheep. I love you. You're adorable and fluffy. You're obscuring the way. Wait a minute, what's this? There we go. That's good enough. That's good enough. That's good enough. And I can repair this ugly damage over here. I don't want the shorelines to look as shitty as they do right now. Can't wait till there's actual underwater content in this game. I'm going to play it so much more than I do right now. That's part of the excitement, is it's a game where you can go anywhere. You can build sky cities. You can build underwater cities, and the physics actually works somewhat correctly. Although they're fixing the water physics too, so I'll need to be really careful, because I'll actually be able to flood my base by breaking glass, which is not something I should advertise, probably. I have no idea if this is the right way. The fog is kind of preventing me from seeing, but whatever. I have a Respiration 3 helmet. There we go. Is there a Catholic in it? Where's the Catholic? There he is. Okay. I'm reassured. He's a landmark. Now I can smelt this, and... although I should really do the smelting in the Nether, shouldn't I? Shouldn't I? I should. Because I'm going to be using the glass in the Nether anyways, and I don't want to have to sit here in my underwater base doing nothing while I wait for glass to smelt. I want to use my nice new, recently finished auto smelter in the Nether to smelt this glass, which will be used in the Nether. There we go. I haven't gotten any games for the Switch yet, frankly, because I'm waiting to see if a flash card... I should have waited for a flash card to come out first. But I'm not a smart man. I did the same thing. When I got my N64, I saved up my allowance until I could get the console, but no games. And my dad was like, that's the dumbest thing in the world. Because you did that, I'm not going to help you buy any games for it. So I just rented. I rented, which was a good decision anyway, given the price of N64 games and how long they were back in the day, which was to say they were very pricey and did not last for very long at all. Renting was the right way to go for the N64 launch. I think the only games I owned eventually were Mario Kart 64, Mario 64, Pilot Wings, Star Fox 64, and like 4 other cartridges. Alright. Just gonna make some glass, and then I'll be set. Gotta make some glass to shelter my ass. I always like it when I can rhyme something with my ass. My ass is a lyrical anchor that all the best rhymes invoke. Here we go. Like that. Right? Yeah! Yeah! So it kind of flows and doesn't feel like I'm just slapdash knocking things together. I'll be able to see if anything shitty is coming my way before it fucks me. It's like rule number 1 of base building. I want to do this. I don't need reasons. That's better. I don't know why, but it feels better. I love VR so much. I'm so cozy right now. So fucking cozy. Surrounded by video games. And not my problems. They don't exist in magical VR land. I'll just find my skeleton like half buried in piss jugs, and it'll be like, he died the way he lived, pissing in jugs, and that'll be my entire obituary. I don't actually piss in jugs. That's how I know. That's like my barometer. I'll know that my life has gone fully off track if I ever pee into a jug. For anything other than like camping reasons. Because when you're camping and it's fucking cold as shit outside the tent and you don't want to go out there and get cold just to pee, sometimes you piss in a bottle. And there's no shame in that. There's no shame in that. Because I just said so, that's why. Okay. This is simple enough. And it'll look kind of shitty once it gets really big and extensive, because it'll just be this big unbroken glass ceiling. I'll cross that bridge when I come to it, and I can always break it up with like supports going this way, so it doesn't look so weird and janky. The really important thing is just to get something over my head, so that if I don't see a blaze or a ghast sneaking up on me, that they don't manage to nail me with a fireball and knock me into the lava, which would, that would be a bad day. I would have a bad day forever after that. Because you had a bad day. It's actually happening fast enough. Let's come up here and replenish. That's that easy. Wow. Alright. That's why I love my auto smelter. It's so fast. So furious. If they made a movie about a debate club, would it be called Too Fallacious, Too Spurious? I put it to you that it would, in fact. Prove against that, atheists. Arguing shit has stopped being fun now that like flat earthers are a major force on the internet. Like, you gotta know when the cause is lost. And all you can do is just kind of try to get away from civilization before everything falls apart. And get your guns ready and make sure your ammunition is dry. Because I don't know what those people are, but they're not humans anymore. And they're taking over. Like, there's a lot of celebrities now. There's a lot who think the world is flat. Who sincerely think that's like a real plausible thing. I wish I was joking. I don't have to tell you, though. You've seen it. It's spreading. How's it? I don't know. How's this? Like, is there a virus that just makes people retarded now? And this is just a symptom of it? And the funny thing is, even creationists think the flat earther creationists are retarded. And they don't recognize that it's connected to creationism. That like 100% of flat earthers are creationists. It's a fundamentalism thing. They're just trusting the model of the earth and the cosmos that's described in the Bible above what scientists say. And nobody you talk to who's just a regular churchgoer recognizes that that's even a thing, because they're like, that's not described in the Bible anywhere. It is. It's in the Bible. They just don't tell you that because they don't want you to not believe anymore. And they have sophisticated apologetics for how, even though it looks like it says the earth is flat, that's not really what it means. But of course, that is what they meant. That's the simplest explanation, is that they just didn't know as much about cosmology as we do. This is the shelter. I'm going to be extending it that way into the lava to collect all the way over to there, I think. And once I'm under the overhang, I won't need to extend it because I'll have protection over my head from ghasts and all the other nasty things that can shoot at me. And I'll be able to collect lava in relative safety. This was the whole point of building all this shit. And I can already tell it was a good idea, and I'm already pleased with myself. The way that you feel when you're cheating your way out of consequences, which is really all that human being what I'm trying to say, all that human beings have ever done is cheat our way out of consequences and invade parts of nature that try to keep us out. That's how we got to where we are today. Need fucking... The next episode is probably just going to be me mining a shitload of fucking iron, because I need a lot of iron to make enough buckets for it to actually have been worth my while to build all that. I now have a reliable, safe source of all the lava I could possibly ever want that does not endanger me to get it. And it's like, okay, great, but now you need buckets, which are even harder to get, kind of. Because you need to fucking find a massive source of iron, or you need to build a golem farm. A grinder, I mean. You see? You can kind of see where I've already gathered lava, and I'm building the platform out to get myself closer to the areas where I haven't gathered lava yet. And I'll just extend it. I'll just fucking extend it and continue to collect as much lava as I want while building out onto the lava surface. And in the process, I'll be creating a lot more indoor space, which I can find some use for at some point. But that's not the important thing. The important thing is just to have a space to collect lava from where I'm not constantly being lit on fire and blasted. I don't want my ass to get blasted. Unless it's a consensual thing where I signed a form beforehand saying you may blast my ass. Otherwise, only I may blast my ass. It's not self-blasting. It's not going to blast itself. So next episode, look forward to seeing me... Actually, no, I've got like 10 minutes left. I should just go fucking do it and not talk about it. Go look for massive supplies of iron. What am I going to do when I have that taken care of, though? When I have all the fuel I could possibly ever need? Cross that bridge when I come to it. Will I have robbed myself of meaning once again? I don't know. By making things too easy. Wait a minute. Yeah, I need to go back. It's your kids, Marty. It's your kids. We've got to go back to the future. They've got a show about us, Marty. They call it Rick and Morty. I don't know about that, Doc. Could they really just change one letter in my name and nobody would notice what they did? It's true, Marty. They're stupid. Everyone in the future is stupid. They just literally made Back to the Future the cartoon and changed one letter in your name, Marty. Ah, jeez. Fuck you. For 10 years. Run you down with my boat. Aquatic drive-bys. We don't roll. That's how we float. They see me floating. Hey, hey, now. I wonder if I could rap a rap song. The dankest rap that was ever rapped by a rap singer. Does one sing a rap or do they rap it? Are they a rapist? I don't think I'd want that on my business card. Not everybody would get it, and then I would have some people afraid of me. Who really shouldn't be. Because I don't want them to see it coming when the time comes. This is going to look so fucking much better with kelp and coral and shit. That's my #1 anticipated thing of the update is to have underwater spaces actually look like they're underwater instead of just featureless gravel wastelands. There'll actually be a reason to be down here. The ubiquitous lava gives a strong case for building bases in the Nether, but there's really nothing. Other than defensibility and faction servers, there's no reason why you need to be underwater. There will be soon, though, if kelp is good. If there's, like, actually something you need kelp for. Or coral, if coral regenerates so you can farm it and is useful for something that makes it worthwhile to have a base underwater. Fucking close. Here we go. I have to get deeper. Deeper. This time, I wish I could have extracted the enchants from my pickaxe before it got destroyed, but that would have made things too easy, wouldn't it? Everybody would just save the enchants and reuse them. That sucks, though. It costs a lot to fucking enchant your tools up to any useful degree, and by then you've already repaired them enough times that, like, they only reach their apex right when they're about to become unrepairable. Irreparable, I guess, would be the word. Get out of here. Little bat friend. You don't want to be in the way. I don't want to hurt you. You're so cute. Bats are primates, actually. They're like sugar gliders and lemurs. They're not rodents. They're not flying mice, even though they look like it and they're about the right size. Which makes sense if you look at their... Oh, good, more metal. The faces and, like, the fact that they have, like, primate-like fingers that their wings are separated into. Starts to make sense. It's creepy and weird. Like, they're much cuter when you think they're just flying mice. Nature doesn't give a fuck what you think is creepy, though. Never will. Okay, I have enough metal I can go make another pickaxe. It just keeps you on the treadmill. Like, you only find enough material to make the pickaxe you need to go get more of the same material. It stinks. I thought I was ahead of the curve. I think I was for a while. Just like real life. It's too real, man. It's too real. You die in the game. You die for real. You die in the game, you die for real. I wonder if there will ever be a thing. If someone will make news by, like, hooking themselves up to a machine that, like, blows their brains out if they lose at a first-person shooter or something. Or if it's like a Saw type situation where they're abducted and forced into it. I don't know. I don't know. I can't use that on that one either, though, can I? I can't. That sucks. I've got all these enchants on this one, but because it's iron, for some reason, I can't use it to repair the diamond one. That would be too convenient, I guess. Sorry to make you watch me mine, almost like this game's called Minecraft or something. You can never get too far away from mining in this game, considering how heavy it focuses on making you collect resources. I once had somebody argue recently that it was more efficient to build underwater by digging a huge hole out of the seafloor and not flooding it until you'd already built the entire base inside. I was like, why don't you just build the base on the seafloor and then fill it with stuff, and then mine that out, because you're necessarily going to be mining less blocks that way. And they're like, no, it doesn't take any time at all to mine with an enchanted pick. I'm like, well, that's just a better argument for what I said. If it's that easy to mine blocks with that enchanted pick, then just fill the structures with the blocks. Although really, that's even not as efficient as filling it with leaf blocks and burning them out. He was just married to doing it in a certain way, and it's a sunken cost fallacy. He'd already built a bunch of shit that way, didn't want it to be a stupid waste of time, which is what it was. You could tell he thought it was clever. You gotta be careful never to say the person is stupid, because then they're gonna dig in their heels, and it becomes about defending their self-esteem. You just gotta say that their solution was not optimal. I've been on the receiving end of that too, but the thing is, when I've met people smarter than me who've corrected me about something, I get mad, but only for like 2 or 3 minutes, and then I come back at them, and I'm like, okay, you were right. And they've said that before. They said, okay, you know, I knew you were going to get mad at me for being a dick about it, but I knew that you also knew you were going to be reasonable, recognize I was right, and I hated them for being right about that. But the thing is, I recognized I was talking to somebody who actually knew their ass from their elbow for once. And I appreciate people like that. Like, if you're really smart, you put your ego on a shelf, and when you meet somebody smarter than you are, you try to find a way to make them work for you. You don't fight them. You don't think, oh, I've got to have the biggest dick in the room. I have to have the biggest, smartest brain in the room. You think, how do I flatter this person's ego and get them to use that intelligence in a way that makes me money? Because oftentimes the really brainy people are also very naive and not difficult to rope into something that they don't realize doesn't benefit them. Like that situation I described earlier, where you train crows to bring you like earrings and jewelry, and you give them French fries, and they think they're getting a great deal because they fucking love French fries. If you can get some kid with like an IQ of 200 working at your company for peanuts and doing like blockchain stuff for you that makes you millions of dollars, that's where you want to be. Brains are just tools, man. They can work for you. It's just that they happen to be attached to people. That's not to say it's not a beautiful, valuable person in their own right. But if it's somebody who's smarter than you, then if you don't get them working for you, then they're going to work against you for somebody else. So it's really a all or nothing kind of prospect. They can either be your ally or they're going to be a terribly effective enemy. And look at the classic blunders in business. You know, Atari was approached by Nintendo, and Nintendo was unsure of themselves in the US market and wanted to work with Atari, and Atari turned them down. That's one of the situations where Atari would have been better off eating some humble pie, saying, you know, we sucked dick for the past several quarters. We obviously don't know what we're doing. These people looks like they know the video games business better than we do. If they just had a little bit of humility, then Nintendo would be a subsidiary of Atari right now. We'd be playing the Atari Switch. That's a situation where you gotta fucking eat your ego, stuff it deep down in your guts, admit when somebody's smarter than you, and then try to work out how to turn that into dollars. Because oftentimes that's really all they want in life is for their intelligence to be acknowledged. Like that's, I hate to associate that with Rick and Morty because that fucking copy pasta, but Dan Harmon is kind of Rick is like a self-insert, and Rick's whole thing is he wants to make himself intolerable to work with, but so valuable because of his intellect that people have to put up with his shitty attitude. Like, just constantly rubbing people's nose in it every minute of the day that he's so smart that they need to put up with his shit in order to have him solve their problems. That's really a stupid way to be, but it's the way a lot of really bright people are. Like, their fantasy is to be so valuable and so sought after that they can behave however they want to, and people will still have to come to them. Whereas the way to really get ahead is to really actually be that bright, but also be a joy to work with. Then everybody will send lucrative projects your way because you were the one that wasn't a fucking dick to work with, and everybody else was a dick. And be like, give the contract to the guy who wasn't intolerable, like every other nerd that we tried to bring into this project. And then you can be the best of both worlds, and people will seek you out because of that. You don't even have to be the smartest if you're just pretty smart and pleasant to work with. A lot of people get by being mediocre but pleasant. So if you can actually be pretty clever and not as intolerably abrasive as most clever people, you can make a career out of that real easy. Like, you don't have to be the smartest. You just have to be pretty smart and be less insufferable than the guy that's smarter than you are. And you'll get the job every time. Fuck! Okay, well, I still have enough. I can make it right here, in fact. I don't have to go up to the surface. That's half the fun of this game, is figuring out how to avoid going back to the surface for things. So you can just live full-time underground. Let's see. I was reading some old fairy tales that were, everybody knows by now that fairy tales were originally much darker until adapted for modern audiences. And usually the moral of them was just to scare the shit out of kids to keep them safe. Like, a lot of the fairy tales about children going off to live in the woods with fairies, and the subtext is that, in fact, back then, kids didn't survive if they got lost in the woods. They got eaten by wolves or something, but the stories were made up by grieving mothers who wanted to believe that fairy folk had come and taken their kids away to live in some magic kingdom. No, they got fucking eaten. If you looked hard enough, you'd find their skeleton someplace. But Hansel and Gretel, is the moral of that story is, don't fucking go play in the woods. A witch will eat you. Maybe not a witch, but there's bad stuff. And it's hard to make a case for that these days because everybody's about ethics and shit, and you can't scare. Then again, what about Krampus? Well, a lot of the same people who say that you shouldn't scare your kids with hell are also saying, look how funny and cultural Krampusnacht is, when Krampusnacht is like the ultimate scare the shit out of kids to make them behave themselves. That's hypocritical. Like, if you're going to say that teaching kids that they're going to burn in hell if they don't behave themselves is child abuse, what do you got to say about dressing up as a horned goat man with a big bag full of stolen children? But if you can't scare kids to make them behave themselves, then parenting becomes effectively impossible. How the fuck do you... Like, you have enough shit on your plate already without having to supply your children with reasonable sounding explanations of why they shouldn't misbehave. What the fuck? What the... Okay. If it's got to be like that. Apparently it does. I don't even have any iron to make buckets with. It's all going to pickaxes. What is this shit? What is this fucking baboosery? This is what I talked about. It keeps you on the treadmill. But I'm over time. That's all for tonight. I wish I had more to show for my efforts, but like I told you, this fucking game, you have to run as fast as you possibly can just to stay still, just to stay where you are, and to keep up with the material needs of making new tools. I wish it were more exciting to watch, but I've tricked you into wasting some of your life watching my stream, and that's time you'll just never get back.